guys, in today's video I'll be showing you how to cut a palazzo trouser with a robe waist. Now basically this is a palazzo, but you could also use this robe format I'm going to use for a normal pencil trouser that is going to have a rope on the waist, and this is a female trouser. So first thing first, I'm going to mark 1 inch here. Then with the help of my pattern master, I'm going to draw a line. Then from there I'll proceed to take the person's trouser length, and for this person I'm working with a length of 43, since it's a palazzo and it's going to be all flowing. 43. Then I'm adding 2.5 inches bending allowance. Now I'm back to this point. At this waist point, I'm going to come in by 1.5 because it's a female trouser. Then at the hip line, for the person's height, if the person is really tall, you use 10. For the person's height, I'm going to use half inches here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this point. Then from here I'm going to go all the way down, just only coming in here by 2 inches. Now using standard techniques, if we are working with a trouser length of 42 for instance, and we did not measure the knee point, I would use 21 as the clue for my knee point, and then at that point I will come in by 1.5. So basically it's 1.5, 1.5, 2. So I'm going to connect now. I'm connecting the points to meet. Then doing this. Now I'm working with a rounding of 17. Remember, in trousers only the waist and hips is divided by 2. Every other thing is divided by 4. Every other thing is divided by 2. So if I'm working with a rounding of 17, that's 8.5, but I'm going to be using 9. So I mark. Now because it's a palazzo, I won't be taking the knee much into consideration because it's going to be very full. Now I need to make you understand something. If you're sewing a trouser that has rope, you do not use the waist measurement for the waist, rather you use the hip measurement, so that this trouser can pass the person at the hip point. So I'm going to be working with the person's hip here. Now a hip is 40 is 10. Then with sewing allowance it becomes 11. I mark that out. Then I slope down by 1 inches, just like in every standard trouser block. Now the difference between this and a trouser with band, with zip and band, is that here we use the hips as the waist. So I'm going to do this. Then her crouch is 12. So for a crouch of 12, I take up to 9.5. Then from my 9.5, I turn to 12. But I usually like taking 13 so that I can have my sewing allowance with it. Now look at this. I started from here. Later on, I started from here. Later on, I'll cut this out, but it's going to be replaced by the band I'll be using for my joining. So I now proceed and I curve here to have my trouser block. I check out her lapse. Her lapse here was 25. So we have even up to 27 here. And since it's a palazzo, it's basically going to be free and it's not going to be fitted. So we could use this. Then all we have to do is start from this point and we now connect to meet up. So with that, I have my front block for my trouser, so I will just proceed to cutting it. Okay, now I'm going to cut over now, just like I do this. Check out the way I am now cutting it out. Please note this: if it was going to be a boot cut, I would use a fitted knee point, then I would start from the knee point now all the way down to get the flowing nature I want. So that's that for drafting our front block for a trouser, a palazzo trouser with elastic. And please note that this same technique can be used for any trouser with rope. This technique applies to both rope and elastic. Remember, you do not use the waist measurement for the waist, rather you use the hips measurement. So in the next video, I'll be showing you how to draft the back block. Thank you so much for watching. Do well to indicate your back so that you would know your wrong side from your right side. Thank you.